So I was looking around the internet. There wasn't a lot of information on the 1635. A lot of people are scared of some of the Mahindras, but it's about 200 hours on this thing, and it's been pretty phenomenal. In general, I was going to do a quick little review over it, some of the things I like and don't like, and go from there. All right, starting up here at the front. It is about a third of a yard bucket. It's a little bit smaller than I'd like, but you know, it is still a tractor. A lot of people forget about that. Really easy. It's not a skid steer, so its primary function is not moving dirt. But the skid steer quick attach is awesome. It's on this model is 1635. It's a little bit different than the 2600 series. I like the way it was built, a little bit heavier, so you put a lot of stress on it. The pins seemed a little bit bigger when I was running around shopping and stuff like that, but I don't think a piece of equipment should be made without these. They're super handy. I mean, forks, grapple, you know, you name it. I had a Yanmar. That was my only big complaint with the Yanmar, was it had a proprietary setup, and it was a pain in the butt for a lot of things. Moving right into the engine. So if you don't know, this is made primarily with a partnership with Mitsubishi. Matter of fact, might be able to hunt it down here. I don't know if you can read that. It's a product by Mitsubishi, made in Japan. So the tractor itself was made in Japan. It's got a Mahindra motor in it. This one's a 3-cylinder naturally aspirated diesel that doesn't use DEF or any of that other fun stuff like a DPF filter or anything like that. Mahindra paid a bunch of money for this. I think it's Mahindra Common Rail Diesel or Design, something like that. I'm sure somebody attacked me in the comments. Anyway, no issues with it. It's been a great little tractor so far, and some of the things that a lot of people complain about, or that on the forums that I ran across, was loader bolts. So I always check those, probably, I don't know, every 20 hours operation. I haven't had anything move on me, but one of the things I like about this is it actually goes the full length of the frame. It helps distribute some of that forces and tension all the way across the whole body of it. Haven't had any issues with it. So speaking of bolts and tension, the only kind of nightmare stuff I've seen happen was some of these front axle housings will actually come loose. So I check these often, but it hasn't been an issue for me. But I've seen somebody that let it get a little too loose, and they actually, whole front hub assembly actually came off. So that's really the biggest thing to look out for with this thing. I know it's muddy, but it's just spring in Michigan, and it's just all part of it. Moving inside the cab. Again, I know it's super dirty, but I run this thing as much as I can to make a living. One of the things I really liked about it was it actually has a clutch on a hydrostatic, which is really unique. It's actually like a secondary thing to help save you in case your slip clutch doesn't work or a shear bolt doesn't operate. But you have to operate that before you put in four-wheel drive, change the gears, settings, or anything like that. Speaking of gears, it's got 3 ranges. Operate mostly in medium. And then the low range is awesome for digging into some sod or something that you really struggle to get a good bite on. I have used the differential lock a few different times. Four-wheel drive works really great, but if you're like on a hill or something like that and need to lock up both of the rear tires, just tap that and hit reverse. I was a little skeptical of the treadle pedal when I first got it, because I came from like a traditional way you'd see like in a deer, where it was, forward and reverse. But I honestly, got used to it in about a week. It was never an issue. Another thing that's really cool, but pretty much useless, to be honest, in a hydrostat, is it's got steer brakes, which is awesome. If you ever operated like a backhoe, steer brakes can be awesome. But on hydrostat, it's pretty much useless because you can't run forward and then your right foot's over there. You can't get your left foot to do the steer brake, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense unless you use like cruise control or something like that. But it's never come up, and it's just something that I don't even really ever use. I don't think I ever will. I put a little radio in it up top there, nothing fancy. You would think for the money they would come with one, but they don't. They come with all the speakers. This is like basic version, I guess you would call it. So it's not no frills and stuff. It doesn't have an air ride seat or anything like that, but it works great for everything I've asked it to do. It's kept me warm, it's kept me cool, and the air conditioning works great. You just got to be in it for more than 5 or 10 minutes, to cool down the cab, because that was the biggest surprise about having a cab was nobody tells you it's like a greenhouse, and that sucker cooks in there real fast. Moving back to the rear, this is another kind of like, I don't know, hot topic. A lot of people complain about these things. Let me get a light and I'll be right back. All right, got a little bit of light to shine on here, show you what's going on. What I was talking about was people complain about these little guys right here. They're traditionally, you have a nice little turnbuckle that tightens up, and it's been a big issue when people run these tight and put them under tension. I don't even think they're honestly designed to be operated like that, because I haven't had any issues with them. And obviously, I've ran across a whole bunch of stuff that, unexpected stuff with the land plane or box grader, stuff like that. And it's never been an issue. But somebody did a really good video on it, explaining how when one side was pushed, there had to be slop in it under the compression side, and then there had to be tension or something or other. It was really a good, informative video. But basically, if you got one over here, the one over there that's in tension, that's tight, this one cannot be in compression. I think that was the gist of it. But a lot of people, tighten these up like you would traditionally do, and I'd actually let this thing float, and it has not been an issue. I could say I do a ton of stuff. I make my living with this thing. Rototilling, brush hogging, a lot of driveways, stuff like that. And it's never really been an issue. Now, I say that and watch, I'm going to break mine, the next time I take it out. But it's been good. No complaints there. This is super different, too, compared to everyone else. As far as the manufacturers, this is kind of like an older style reduction kind of gear housing in the back here. It's all cast iron, which is super nice. It's a little louder, but it's super strong. But if you look at any other tractor, they don't run this setup. It almost looks like a planetary gear. It's not, but basically they put the final drives, the reduction, closer to the housing there. So it's an old school technology, but it still works, and I'm just happy nothing leaks or anything like that. No big benefit there, I guess, but just something that was a little bit different than the other models that I looked at. As far as some of the other stuff goes, let me see, on the other side there was a potential vulnerable spot, but it's never been an issue for me, just because I'm kind of aware of it. They recommended, if you do like a lot of brush hogging, that this could potentially be vulnerable, which makes perfect sense. It's exposed right there. Some limb or something like that can go right into it. I haven't had an issue with it myself, but not saying that I won't in the future. Just something to be aware of. Other than that, I'm getting ready to do the 200-hour service. I just got to clean it up a little bit because I don't want to lay in the mud. I'm sure I'm going to be laying in enough oil as it is. But I don't know, you guys have any other questions about it? I would recommend it. Wouldn't be afraid of it at all. It's been a great little tractor. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, and like and subscribe, I guess.